Now we're working on the K3 drum, the rear planetary and center planetary gear set. So let's get started on taking it apart. First we're going to remove the rear sealing rings. These sealing rings seal, apply oil, seal the oil passages for the K3 drum through the case. They're plastic, so you want to be pretty careful with them, not to break them. Now we're going to remove the retaining snap ring. The spacer or the race, the needle bearing, and finally the race that goes against the drum. And we want to set the whole assembly aside for cleaning and inspection. Now we're going to slide the center planetary out of the gear set. Now we're going to pull the drum out of the planet. Now there's a bearing in here we want to remove so we don't lose it. Set that aside. Now that we've got the whole assembly taken apart, we can work on the K3 clutch drum. Let's take it apart. We can get down to the piston and seals. I'm going to set the sun gear and hub assembly aside. Pull the snap ring out. Got the pressure plate, the one-sided clutches, and the dished cushion spring. Now, this is a very difficult spring to compress down in here. What I found is that a 4F27E sprag race, that's a Ford transmission part that I found in our parts department, and we're going to set that down in here right on top of that spring. It fits real nice on top of that dish spring. And we're going to use that in the press to compress the spring to take the L-shaped retaining snap ring out of this drum. This can be quite fussy, so be patient with it and try not to destroy the snap ring when you take it out, because it can be very difficult. Now we've got our L-shaped snap ring out of the drum after we used a suitable press to compress the 4F27E sprag race and get our return spring out of there. You can see that the dish faces down on this return spring. Now we can pull the piston up and out of the drum. And now we're going to just complete the disassembly, remove and discard the O-rings. And that completes the teardown of the K3 clutch drum. Okay, we removed and discarded the outer seal from the K3 piston. So where's the inner seal? Well, we've got the sun gear right here, and this fits down into the drum. Well, the seal is right down in here on the sun gear shaft. Okay? The piston fits, the sun gear fits through the piston and seals. So here we have on the output shaft, we have the sealing rings. The sun gear assembly comes in, fits onto the shaft. We have the output sealing rings that fit through the case. The apply oil is fed through this orifice, down through the shaft, up through these two sealing rings right here, and into the piston to apply the clutch. So when we look for the inner piston sealing rings, they're right here on the shaft. We've got our K3 drum set aside. Now we're going to focus on the sun gear and disassembling its components. First thing we're going to do is to remove the rubber O-rings, remove and discard them. Down in there. Remember that we talked about the seals that seal the piston on the drum. Now we've got a snap ring that is retaining the hub to the sun gear shaft. There's the snap ring. Now we're going to pull the hub off of the shaft, and down inside we have the bearing and the race. Now we're ready to clean these parts up.